Jacob, a question. Why am I not Muslim?
Because I think the ideology doesn't fit with reality. I think it's an ideology that is, its values are stuck in the 7th century, and that the world's morality has surpassed what was the morality of the 7th century, and therefore its values. I don't think they catch my attention, basically.
You know you're going to hell for not believing in Islam and not accepting the Prophet?
But I don't believe in hell.
That you are looked down upon in the eyes of Allah?
No, in fact, in the eyes of God, in the Hebrew Bible, I am his son, just like all of humanity is. We are created in his image and likeness. I don't believe in hell, so your threat seems very childish to me. But I understand that in your religion, you have to instill fear in people so that they believe, unlike Judaism, where people come to Judaism on their own. No.
Because you are the ones who instill fear, Jacob. You are the ones who instill fear with everything you did in Gaza. Jacob.
Have you ever seen a Jew trying to convince someone to become Jewish? We are not proselytizers, and people come to Judaism on their own. Unlike you, you have to go with the sword, conquering the world by force, using terror so that people...
But what are you talking about? What did you do in Gaza? What did you do in Gaza?
What did you do there?
What did we do in Gaza? Very simple. I was treating children. So what did we do in Gaza?
In 2005, we gave them Gaza as a gift, but they kept launching missiles at us. And on October 7th, they carried out a massacre and kidnapped 300 of our people. For the past 2 years, we searched for our brothers and brought them back. And whoever wants to mess with us and suffer the consequences of kidnapping Jews, that's the price they're going to pay. Don't kidnap Jews and then end up whining about it. That's what happened in Gaza, okay? And you, the Muslims, what did you do in Syria? 500,000 dead. What did you do in Yemen? Already 300,000? What are you doing in Iran? You too? The death tolls?
Are you talking about Syria? In Syria, there were no deaths. It's been a civil war since 2012. You're talking...
A war since 2012?
With 500. It's a fallacy.
How many and 3 million displaced people around the world? Look it up. Open Google. How many victims has the civil war in Syria left?
How many displaced people? They were people who were supporting a genocidal regime. A genocidal regime, no.
They were people escaping from not that land.
Because the Muslims were oppressed. The Muslims really were oppressed, just like they are everywhere.
Islamic State of Iraq and Syria claimed oppression, which they used to justify beheading even fellow Muslims. Does that make sense to you?
No, that's Western propaganda. That's Western propaganda.
So you're telling me that Islamic State of Iraq and Syria releasing videos?
That's because they deserved it or did something wrong. They even committed crimes. I mean...
You're saying that when Islamic State of Iraq and Syria releases a video, they did bad things. They produce it themselves, add the music, the logos. Are you saying that releasing a video beheading someone and saying that's the fate of all kuffar who oppose Allah is the same as when you told me it was hell and that Allah doesn't love me? It's just that they actually have the knife. And the victim then, it's propaganda that they themselves made out of love for heaven. That's your problem. Do you know why Islamic countries are often seen as the most devastated and affected by wars? That's why.
Because you deny it? Go to Qatar, go to the Emirates, go to all those countries. They are very prosperous.
And they are Israel's allies. Dubai, ally of Israel. Bahrain, ally of Israel. Saudi Arabia, ally of Israel. Qatar, ally of the West. You mean Donald Trump from the United States, right?
That's just an example. But these are developed countries where you rarely see criminals or drug use, unlike what you sometimes see in Israel or the debauchery in the United States.
You know that people travel to countries like these to have pleasures they can't get anywhere else, don't you think so? They also sell alcohol. There are literally photos of the children of Hamas members who live in Qatar drinking whiskey at parties. I don't know what planet you live on. The problem with you and Islam is that without self-criticism you don't progress. You say, oh no, the bad ones are the others, we're the perfect ones who don't do anything wrong. And that's why you have the countries with the worst wars, the most misery, the worst crises.
Where the worst crises are because of you and because of the West, that's because of you and the West. Wait, admit it. Admit everything you have done, Jacob. Admit everything you have done. That's why we can't have peace.
But look, again, the countries you just gave me as examples, the countries that are aligned with the West, and those are precisely the ones that are doing well. Your logic falls apart. No, it doesn't make sense.
But it's a pragmatic relationship, Jacob. It's a pragmatic relationship. I mean, it's not really something that we in the West like or that the Emiratis like about the West.
And what does pragmatic mean? That they want material things?
that they want money. Do you understand that there are really interests? But the truth is that we can't hide all the bad things you do in the Middle East. We can't have peace there.
They understand that since they have the interest of doing well and prospering, the best ally is the West. And these are exactly the countries that, for example, you know that Al Jazeera and these channels are banned by Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, waving the Palestinian flags is forbidden, it's prohibited. They know who the radicals are and that they've destroyed the Middle East. Honestly, I think that view is a bit outdated given what's happening there now. Not really, no, you're a bit lost on that.
No. Frankly, no, Jacob. Not wanting to see the reality of what's happening here in the Middle East is a very different thing. Jacob, it's a very different thing. Not wanting to see, wanting to hide everything that's happening, just like they wanted to hide it in Gaza.
Want me to tell you something? In Syria, there is and was a civil war, yes or no?
But which war are you talking about?
The civil war in Syria?
People were clearly oppressed by a regime. People were oppressed and they had to free themselves. Regimes imposed by you, by the West, regimes that if they were imposed by us...
If it was imposed by us?
Because there were wars, because you are at war with Israel everywhere. You, Jacob, are intervening everywhere. You want to maintain supremacy. Tell me this logic.
Because you seem to think the Jews control even your breakfast. If we, Israel, are the ones who control everything, why was Syria, Assad's government, at war with Israel? How do you explain that?
Jacob, don't twist things. Jacob, don't twist things. Explain. Understand, Jacob, understand. Why don't you admit that you have been controlling the world, that you have been controlling the other Muslim countries? To control the climate?
Control?
Why don't you progress? Why do these kinds of things happen in the West? Is it because of you, Jacob?
But tell me, I'm asking you, how is it possible that there was a state of war between Israel and Syria if we control even your breakfast? How do you explain this phenomenon?
Propaganda is that simple. Propaganda that you have, it's really that simple. Israel, who admits that Israel exists? Israel doesn't exist, Jacob. Israel doesn't exist. It was created out of nothing. Do you understand? Israel doesn't exist. They were the vassals of the West placed there in the Middle East to be able to control all the other Arab countries here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Morocco.
Morocco, tell me, did you know there was a Jewish presence in Morocco? Even before Morocco existed?
There was a Jewish presence, but they converted to Islam. Later, they converted to Islam. They saw the truth and converted to Islam.
The Moroccans expelled 200,000 Jews from Morocco because they're racist like you. So, that's what happened. Tell me, for example, the Gaza cause, Palestine. Can you tell me in what year Gaza was created? Sorry, in what year was the Palestinian state created? Do you know anything about this?
It has always existed there. It has always existed since time immemorial. Someone wanted to sit there and say that it exists and is a country. From that moment, Jacob.
You have a date from the people. I mean, for you, Allah created the world in 6 days. Even though the Quran contradicts itself on this, tell me when Allah created the world, was Palestine created? There was already a flag and Palestinians were already present. That's your logic.
The Palestinians were there. Jacob, you can't just say they don't exist, but let's see.
Okay, if for you this is proof, tell me. Is Palestine mentioned in the Quran?
It's not mentioned, but the people from there are. The people from there. Israel is mentioned in the Quran.
Israel is mentioned in the Quran?
Yes, Israel is mentioned. Of course it is mentioned. Well,
following that logic, which makes more sense as a narrative that was talked about and existed, Israel or Palestine, if one exists in the Quran and the other does not. Huh?
Look, Jacob, don't try to compare the people of Israel from before. It has nothing to do with the current one. Understand that. It has nothing to do with it.
So what's yours?
It has nothing to do with it. Admit it, so you don't. What news over there in Gaza, frankly? Aren't you ashamed of having done so much harm to humanity there? No, the opposite?
I'm proud that I defend my children from people like you. You want the destruction of the world. You support radicals and you're not even able to admit that Islam has a problem with radicalism, or are you able to admit this?
No, it doesn't, Jacob. It doesn't, frankly. I mean, there are people who don't interpret it correctly. That's the truth, Jacob.
Entonces, un problema.
I invite you to Islam.
Tell me, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria is not a problem, Hezbollah is not a problem, Hamas is not a problem, Taliban is not a problem, the Houthis are not a problem, Polisad is not a problem, Al-Shabaab is not a problem, Jabhat al-Nusra is not a problem, none of them are a problem. The majority of terrorist groups on the planet are Muslim, but they don't have a problem. No, it's propaganda. It's the West. The United States created them. You control the weather. The bad ones aren't us, it's them.
Do you see the things that Mossad has done around the world? You can't deny that they have influence. I give Mossad a round of applause, not denying it. Why are most of the millionaires in the world Muslims? They're Jewish.
Because we're not like you?
They control the world.
Basically, because we're not like you. That's why. And there are also many ignorant Muslim millionaires. Aren't they an oil producer globally?
Falacio, it's the truth. I hope to see you another time. I have to go. See you.
All right. That's it. There I left you an example of why Islam is the way it is. Why Islam is the way it is. And the most interesting thing of all is that the West welcomes them with open arms. Come, move.
Come to our lands.
Some people ask if this is a war between truth and lies. This is a war between good and evil, between freedom and oppression. The message of the Jew of Israel is human freedom, that a human being can be free and can create. And can you be the people persecuted for 2,000 years, this trampled minority? And even if you have a small chance, you can become a superpower in 70 years and build. And you know what, everyone? The algorithm you're seeing us with now is an algorithm. And TikTok was recently bought by a Jew. I mean, all of this, the moving picture, 3 format was invented by a Jew. So, you're listening to me with technology? Anyway, so all of this, the message from Israel to the nations is that we can do something better, and it depends on us. Instead of blaming the stars, and that's depending on the stars, I blame the stars for my luck. Or I blame Israel because they're colonialists and everything bad is Israel's fault. It's not my fault. Like what happened with the Muslim, you were on the live, Jonathan, when the Muslim joined and I said, brother, aren't Islamic State of Iraq and Syria Muslims? And he said, no, that's false. He's Muslim. He has no self-criticism. They don't have that power, that free will to overcome that. Oppressive system of humanity and be free and build.